Pastor Bridget Hillard, along with her husband Bishop 555, is known for co-founding the New Light Christian Center Church, a well-known megachurch in Houston, Texas. She is praised for her important ministry work and leadership in women's faith and prayer. Pastor Hilliard was born and raised in Texas. Early in life, Bridget Hilliard was shaped for a life of faith, leadership, and ministry. Her upbringing prepared her for the spiritual path she would later take, which would help her shape the lives of many through her ministry work. Her faith and spiritual dedication became guiding principles that would not only define her own life, but also affect the lives of many others as she co-led one of the most influential churches in Houston, New Light Christian Center. Bridget Hillard's life changed dramatically when she married Bishop Bridget Hilliard, a man who shared her love for ministry and God's work. Their union was more than just a marriage, it was the start of a strong spiritual partnership that would shape both of their lives. They had a vision for a ministry that would serve their community, spread the word of God, and encourage others to grow in their faith. In 1984, with this vision in mind, the Hilliards started the New Light Christian Center Church in Houston, Texas. The church started out as a small group of people. Like many ministries, its early years were hard, but Bridget and her husband's leadership, dedication, and unwavering faith helped the church grow. It wasn't just their strong belief in the power of faith and prayer as New Light Christians that made this growth possible. It became clear that Pastor Bridget Hillard was an important part of Center Church's growth. While Bishop Thwart 5 Hilliard was usually the public face of the church, preaching and leading the congregation, Bridget worked hard behind the scenes to make the church a supportive and empowering place, especially for the women who attended. Her leadership was marked by a deep commitment to. Bridget did more than just run the church. She preached, taught, and organized many activities, with a focus on women's ministries. She believed in the transformative power of faith and was committed to helping women find their spiritual purpose and potential. Women's ministries at New Light became an important part of the church under her leadership, encouraging women to live strong, faith-based lives. One thing that makes Pastor Bridget Hilliard's ministry stand out is her ability to deliver powerful faith-based messages. Her lessons have always been about spiritual growth, personal empowerment, and the importance of faith in getting through life's challenges. She has a special way of connecting with her. She preaches to her congregation and gives them practical, real-life advice based on biblical teachings. Her messages are powerful not only because of the theological content, but also because of the sincerity and passion with which she delivers them. In addition to preaching, Pastor Bridget has organized many conferences and events to help people strengthen their faith. These gatherings give people a chance to get together, sharing their spiritual journeys and getting support from other believers. Her hard work in planning these events has helped build a strong community within the church where people feel connected and motivated to grow in their faith. Under Hilliard's leadership, New Light Christian Center Church grew from a small group of people to a thriving megachurch with thousands of members. Many people from all over the country and even the world came to worship at New Light. The church became a beacon of faith in the Houston area, known for its dynamic services, strong outreach programs, and dedication to community service. A big part of New Light's success can be attributed to the Hilliards' unwavering dedication to their congregation. Church members loved Bridget because she was a caring leader who they saw as both a spiritual guide and a source of personal support. She offered comfort and advice during hard times, showing how important it is to rely on faith to get through life's challenges. One of the most impressive things about Pastor Bridget Hilliard's ministry is her dynamic preaching style, which combines passion, clarity, and a deep understanding of the Bible. She knows a lot about what the Bible says, and her sermons are known for being lively and straight to the point, giving people advice on how to live out their faith in real life. Whether she's preaching to large crowds or small groups, she has an unmatched ability to connect with her audience. She talks not only as a spiritual leader, but also as someone who has lived through the challenges of keeping faith in hard times. Pastor Bridget Hilliard's main message is one of prosperity, not just in money terms, but in all areas of life. She teaches that living a life of abundance is part of God's plan for believers and stresses how important it is to align one's thoughts, actions, and faith with the divine purpose. Bridget tells her followers to trust in God's ability to provide and get over feelings of lack or limitation. Her messages often focus on the idea that faith, action, and trust in God can lead to a prosperous and fulfilling life. This message of prosperity has struck a chord with many, especially those who want to improve their lives. One of Pastor Bridget's best qualities is her ability to inspire women to find their spiritual calling. She gives women advice on both religious and personal matters, helping them see their worth and value in both their personal and professional lives. Her teachings stress that women are important to the success of their families, communities, and the church, and that their spiritual growth is necessary for them to fulfill their purpose in life. Pastor Bridget Hilliard tries to give women the tools they need for spiritual and personal success by holding many events, conferences, and teachings that are just for women. These gatherings give women a safe and supportive place to explore their faith, connect with others, and learn from Bridget's experience and wisdom. One of the most important events she hosts is the Women Who Win Conference, which happens every year and is meant to give women the tools they need to succeed. Women need spiritual guidance to do well in all areas of their lives. The conference has workshops, prayer sessions, and keynote speeches that meet both the spiritual and practical needs of women. It gives women a place to share their stories and find support from other women on a similar faith journey. These events and teachings have had a lasting impact on many women, helping them to navigate life challenges like low self-esteem, money problems, family problems, and professional setbacks by giving them both spiritual and practical advice. Pastor Bridget makes sure that the women who attend these events feel encouraged, empowered, and better prepared to pursue their goals with faith and confidence through her dynamic preaching that focuses on faith and prosperity and her unwavering dedication to empowering women. Pastor Bridget Hillard has left behind a legacy of leadership and inspiration. Her message speaks to people who want to live meaningful lives, especially women who want to know how to balance their faith with the demands of modern life. Pastor Hilliard's influence goes beyond the walls of New Light Christian Center. Pastor Bridget Hillard has helped women from all walks of life through her events, conferences, and teachings. Before going into the problems she has had, it is important to remember how successful she has been in ministry. With her husband, Bishop W. Hillard, she helped grow New Light Christian Center. She has changed the spiritual lives of thousands of people by turning a small congregation into a large and influential megachurch known for her lively preaching style and focus on faith and prosperity. Pastor Bridget's focus on personal empowerment, especially for women, and her ability to deliver faith-based messages that resonate with people from all walks of life have made her a beloved figure in her community. Pastor Bridget's success in ministry gave her a chance to inspire others and make lasting positive change. Her work with women's ministries and organizing faith-based events solidified her role as a spiritual leader who was dedicated to uplifting and empowering those around her. However, even as she fulfilled her calling in the church, she faced personal problems. Pastor Bridget Hilliard's strength, resilience, and faith would be put to the test in ways she could never have imagined. One of the hardest and most well-known challenges she faced was when her daughter had major legal and personal problems. For a family with such a strong spiritual leadership background, these problems were especially hard, and they got a lot of attention, putting the Hilliard family under a lot of scrutiny and criticism as a result. Because of this, Pastor Bridget had to deal with not only her daughter's legal and personal problems, but also the huge stress of running her ministry while everything was going on. Her daughter's legal problems were not just a private matter, they were also in the public eye because Pastor Bridget and her husband are well known in the religious community. A lot of attention from the media and the public. This added to Pastor Bridget's stress and emotional toll because she had to deal with not only her own heartbreak, but also the damage it did to her family's reputation and the church's. For any parent, seeing their child go through hard times is one of the worst things that can happen. For Pastor Bridget Hillard, her daughter's problems were even worse. As someone who had dedicated her life to leading others in faith and spirituality, this personal crisis was a big test of her emotions and spirituality. On top of the stress of seeing her daughter in such a bad situation, Pastor Bridget had to figure out how to balance her private pain with her public role. She had to keep leading her congregation, giving them spiritual advice and hope, even though her own life was in chaos. It was hard for her to keep things normal in her ministry while dealing with the heartbreak and stress in her personal life. Pastor Bridget's faith was put to the test in a big way by this trial. As someone who preached about how important faith is in getting through life's problems, she now had to live out those lessons in real life. There were times of doubt, fear, and emotional exhaustion, but she stayed strong in her faith through it all. Even though she didn't understand it right away, Pastor Bridget Hillard's faith became her anchor and helped her get through the hardest times of her life. This was true even though she was under a lot of stress and emotional pain during her daughter's legal and other problems. Even though she was going through hard times, she never gave up on her faith. This showed how strong she was as a mother and as a spiritual leader. She continued to lead her church, encourage others, and be a beacon of faith, even though things were hard. Her unwavering faith in God's plan, even though it caused her and her family a lot of pain, showed how much she believed in the power of faith. She didn't avoid the problems. Instead, she saw them as chances to grow closer to God and show how faith can change lives. Emphasize the importance of being honest and open in leadership. Many spiritual leaders may feel pressured to appear perfect, but Pastor Bridget chose to be open about her problems. She didn't try to hide her pain, but instead used it to connect with others who were going through similar things. By doing this, she gave a powerful example of how faith can help a person get through hard times. As time went on, Pastor Bridget Hilliard and her family started to get better from the legal and personal problems that had been bothering them. The journey was painful, but it ultimately made her stronger and more committed to her calling as a spiritual leader. She used this experience as part of her ministry, which gives her even more authority when she talks about how important it is to have faith, stick with it, and trust that God has a plan. Resilience is a key part of Pastor Bridget Hilliard's life and ministry. She has been through personal problems, including the well-known legal and personal problems of her daughter, and has shown an amazing ability to keep her strength and faith in the face of adversity. For her, resilience is more than just being able to get better. That God has a plan even when the way isn't clear. In her sermons, Pastor Bridget always stresses how important it is to be strong and encourages her audience to lean on their faith when life gets hard. Knowing the emotional and spiritual toll that hardship can take on a person firsthand, Pastor Bridget's ability to deal with her own problems while leading a large congregation is a powerful example of resilience in action. Her own struggles have made her teachings on resilience even more powerful. She doesn't shy away from talking about life's problems, but instead offers practical and spiritual advice. with God's help. Her message is clear: faith doesn't get rid of problems, but it gives you the strength to deal with them. Another important message that Pastor Bridget Hillard has woven into her ministry is the importance of forgiving. For anyone who has been hurt by betrayal, legal battles, or family strife, forgiving can be especially hard. But Pastor Bridget knows from her own life experiences that forgiving is an important part of healing and spiritual growth. She has shown that holding on to anger or bitterness only makes things worse. Instead, she teaches that forgiving yourself and others is an important part of getting through hard times. Pastor Bridget often reminds her congregation that God's grace and forgiveness are available to everyone, and as Christians, it is their duty to give that grace to others. For Pastor Bridget, forgiving others is not a sign of weakness, but of spiritual maturity. She knows that forgiving can take a long time and be hard, but she stresses that it is an important step toward healing. Letting go of resentment and anger lets people move on with their lives with spiritual freedom and peace. Her teachings on forgiveness have hit home with many, especially those who have been hurt by betrayal, disappointment, or injustice in their personal lives. Bridget Hillyard's ministry is based on her faith, which she sees as the best way to get through any hard times in her life and ministry. Pastor Bridget has always relied on her faith, believing that God would guide her through even the darkest moments. This unwavering faith has been the foundation of her resilience, allowing her to handle both personal and public challenges with grace and strength. Pastor Bridget's personal life shows the power of faith in action, and her ability to stay calm, focused, and spiritually grounded in the face of problems is an example for others on how faith can help them get through life's problems. Her message is clear: by trusting God, anyone can get through pain, loss, and uncertainty, knowing that there is a bigger picture at work. Many people look to Bridget Hillyard's life and ministry as an example of how to deal with problems in life while staying true to your faith. She and her family have been through tough times in public, but they have come out stronger, showing the power of resilience, forgiveness, and faith. By sharing her own experiences, Pastor Bridget has shown others that it is possible to overcome. People often look to spiritual leaders for help when they are having a hard time, and Pastor Bridget has been a constant source of support for her congregation. Being honest about her own problems has made her more relatable to those who are also going through hard times, rather than acting like she has all the answers or is immune to what they are going through. Through her preaching and personal life, Pastor Bridget Hilliard has made it clear that no one is immune to hardship, but that everyone can get through it with faith, resilience, and forgiveness. Her life is a living example of these principles, and she has used her platform to spread this message to others. Pastor Bridget has become a beacon of hope for people who are going through personal, emotional, or spiritual problems by sharing her own struggles and the lessons she has learned along the way. In addition to her teachings, Pastor Bridget uses the events, conferences, and workshops she puts together to help people strengthen their faith and resilience, whether they are large women's conferences or smaller, more personal teachings. She wants to help people deal with life's problems while staying true to their faith. Through these sessions, she continues to build a ministry that helps people grow spiritually and personally, even when they are going through hard times. Pastor Bridget Hillard has been through a lot of hard times in her life, some of which were seen by the public, because she is a well-known religious leader. Her daughter went through painful legal and personal problems that got a lot of attention. This situation tested Pastor Bridget's emotional and spiritual strength because she had to balance the private pain of seeing her child go through hard times with the public attention that came with her family's fame. Her testimony continues to touch people deeply and lend a message of hope and encouragement to anyone who is going through hard times as pastor. Bridget's story keeps going. She is a living example of how faith, strength, and grace can not only help people get through hard times, but also inspire others to do the same. Her lasting legacy in the Christian community is one of faith in action and unwavering trust in God's plan, no matter how hard the journey may be.